Hi, what do you do if you find yourself suddenly widowed? This is not a pleasant conversation, and it's not one that anyone really wants to have, but it's one that we need to have. Um, so, I want to start out by first saying I'm so sorry for the loss of your spouse. This is a very difficult time for you, I know, and there's a long road ahead of you. There's a lot ahead of you that you just didn't even realize was going to happen. There's mail to go through, there's bills, there's personal property, there's clothes. So what do you do with the clothes? What do you do with jewelry? What do you do with all these things? Tools, whatever it is. There's just a lot to process and go through. And I know that there's a lot on you, and I'm so sorry that you're having to go through this. Whether the death was something that was a result of a long illness or it was sudden, it's still difficult. And so I'm sorry that you're going through this, and I hope that you have a good support system and some people there that's helping you through this process. If not, I hope that you're able to find someone or find a support system to help you through it. What I do want to do, though, is give you a few little tips of some things you can do from a practical standpoint on steps to take. So if you are very early in this process and you haven't gone through the funeral process yet, so one of the things you're going to do if you're suddenly widowed, like just happened, is you want to get the documents together. And the documents I'm talking about will be a will. It's going to be the burial policy if there is one, life insurance policy. You want to find anything related to retirement accounts. If your spouse was in the military, get that DD 214. And you're going to take those documents, take the DD 214 and your life insurance and burial policy with you. The funeral home may need those things. The funeral home will certainly want to see and use the burial policy. They may also need the information from the life insurance policy because they may be able to use that to help ask for payments for the burial or cremation services. The life, not the life, but the last will and testament may have information as to whether or not your spouse wanted to be cremated or buried, and so you'll need to have that information as well. So you want to have, and the DD 214 has to do with if they're in the military, the funeral home will need that information. So those are the documents you'll probably need when you go to the funeral home. And then when you were there, they're going to ask you how many copies of the death certificate that you're going to want or need. I suggest you get several, and when I say several, at least 10. You will need several original death certificates to give out. Some agencies only want originals. If you have to open an estate, you will need at least one original to open an estate. So make sure you have several originals. Again, I recommend at least 10, but probably 12 to 15 is a good number. That may be more than you need, but I would go at least 10, but probably 12 to 15 is a good number. And so you'll get those, and once you get those death certificates, you can really kind of take care of business from there. You'll also want to notify the Social Security Administration, even though the funeral home should do that for you. But you'll also want to notify if any retirement, if your spouse is receiving retirement, notify your bank, any financial institution where your spouse was banking or had any finances, investments, and things like that, so that they're aware that your spouse has passed away. A lot happens kind of automatically once Social Security Administration is notified of your spouse's death, but it is good for you to go ahead and take the initiative and notify those agencies as well. And some of them are going to need that death certificate just to verify your spouse's death. Again, I'm so sorry that you're going through this. As an estate planning lawyer and estate administration lawyer, I know that the process can be difficult. When it comes to your probating the estate, whether your spouse died with a will or without a will, it is important to get in to see me or another estate administration lawyer within the first couple of weeks. You don't have to come in the next day, but within the first couple of weeks, come in and see us so that we can kind of guide you and tell you what your rights are and what the next steps are. But we certainly want to give you a chance to get through the funeral and get through some of that initial process before we start going through the estate administration process. So after you get through the funeral, and maybe a day or two after that, then give me a call at Huntsville Estate Planning Lawyer LLC, and I'll be glad to meet with you and talk you through this process, and we can start the state administration process, whether your spouse had a will or did not have a will. I can help you either way. Again, I'm Tanya Hendricks, Huntsville Estate Planning Lawyer LLC. You can find me at HuntsvilleEstatePlanningLawyers.com. That's HuntsvilleEstatePlanningLawyers.com. And I hope you can find some peace and comfort through this time of mourning.